Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis tellement excitée. I'm really excited because this pond is about 10 minutes walk from my house. I walk by it every day. I have been doing that for years and I've never walked into the pond. In the wintertime it freezes over and I can walk on top of it. Today I'm going to walk in. So I'm wearing my pond study pants. These are my special pants for pond study. They are going to get wet. I have 2 nets, one with really fine mesh, because some of the stuff I want to capture is really teeny, and bigger mesh for tadpoles and stuff. Don't know, maybe we could get lucky. We also need white bins because what we find, it'll be a lot easier to see if what's behind them is white and they already have some water in them. And then of course we need to be able to use a magnifier so that we can really see the stuff up close. All right, you ready? I'm going in. Ask me if it's cold. Is it cold, madame? Oui, mes amis, c'est froid. Okay, the idea is don't go in beyond the pond study pants. Ooh, it's deep. Okay, so I'm deep enough now that I could probably put my net in. You guys remember that you don't do this by yourselves, right? You remember that you always have an adult with you if you're going into water like this. Now, if I stand here and wait for something to move, I will be here all day because everything in here is adapted to hide from me. I'm not going to see it. So what I'm going to do is start putting in my net and just do-do-do. I like to sing when I do it. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do, back and forth. I try to go under things. Stuff likes to hide under things. Whoa, it's getting cold. Under things. And I like to go close to the bottom, but not too close. I don't want to get too much mud. Go along the bottom, along the edge of this big log. If I was a tadpole or a fish, or any kind of cool bug, that's where I'd be hiding. Trying to poke myself in the face too much with the trees. So exciting, because you never know what you're going to get. All right, let's see what we have here. We've let the tub sit for a little bit so that the sediment can settle and then the animals will start to move and you can really see them move against the white of the bucket. Wow, and there are so many different things in there. You can really tell a lot about what you have by the way that they move. Each species, each group of animals, they move very differently. The one that's at the top of the screen, that's an insect called a water strider, not a spider, but a strider, because it is an insect, and he's skating on the surface tension of the water, which is kind of an amazing thing to be able to do. Water strider superpower. And then underneath him, you can see a lot of things wiggling around. There's something that's wiggling with almost bringing its tail up to its head very quickly and then back again. That is a mosquito larva. And there are some red mites that I can see swimming around. Those are related to spiders. There's this guy that looks like a pile of sticks, but inside there is a very cool larva called a caddisfly larva. And a caddisfly, when it comes out of the pond, when it emerges as an adult, is quite a beautiful insect that will fly away from this pond. But while he's an immature, he builds himself that protective case out of whatever is available to him on the bottom of his pond. So there's a different one, and you can see how you could tell what is part of their habitat by what their case is made of. And another thing about caddisflies that is so cool is that they tend not to live in dirty water. So seeing caddisflies, oh, there's a different one. His is made of grasses. Seeing them in here makes me think that this water is fairly clean and has lots of oxygen in it, which is a really good thing for the fish and all the other animals that depend on this water, including this guy. This is a tadpole, really small tadpole, so he's probably this year's tadpole. He might have been born yesterday. And then I wanted to show you this bigger tadpole. This is one that we saw and didn't catch because he's quite large. He's probably last year's tadpole. So He's probably, you can see he's quite big compared to my finger. Probably a green frog tadpole. So he would have spent all last summer as a tadpole. He would have spent all winter lying in the bottom of this pond. And then this summer, he will probably mature into a green frog and crawl out of this pond at long last. Here you can see him swim away in slow motion. So cool. Okay, this insect is one of the coolest. He's also one of the largest that you can find in a pond in Canada. This is a scorpion bug, and it's a true bug, which means that his mouth parts are actually piercing, sucking mouth parts that are underneath his face. So you wouldn't know it, but he does actually pack a punch, and he could potentially bite me, but I obviously am not handling him. You can tell he's a predator. Big eyes for seeing his prey, and those great big jaws for catching prey. And then if you look at the back end of this fella, you can see right there, that is for breathing. He actually has a breathing tube that he sticks out of the water, and he uses that to breathe while he hangs the rest of his body under the surface of the water, trying to catch anything that swims by, from fish to frogs, anything at all. Here's somebody really small. This is not an insect, you can tell because it has lots of legs and lots of body segments, but this is an isopod. And he's related to a pillbug that you might find under a rock, but he's an aquatic one. Ooh, that's a Daphnia. All Daphnia are girls. Also a crustacean, so more closely related to lobsters and crabs than insects, but really tiny zooplankton. Check that out. One of my favorites. That is a damselfly larva. So she has a really cool mouth that's kind of folded up underneath her head, and it can shoot out from her face and grab prey and bring it back to her mouth to eat. So she's quite a fierce predator, but not as fierce as she will be when she becomes an adult. And she crawls out of this pond, and she grows wings, and she flies away. Then she will be an amazing flyer and an amazing predator, just like her cousin, the dragonfly. She'll also be very beautiful. I don't know if you've seen a damselfly before, but they tend to be shiny, brightly colored bodies, beautiful long wings, gorgeous creatures. This is a mosquito larva showing off his little siphon that he uses to breathe. Ooh, check it out. This is a mayfly. These guys will be coming out later on this month. By the thousands, they'll be emerging from local water, and those are his gills. Do you see that? When he wiggles them, here, I'll show you again in slow motion, wiggles those gills, and that's so that water will flow over so that he can absorb the oxygen from the water. He will only live 1 day as an adult. This is a mosquito larva again, and you can see what a furry little creature that is. There's a beetle. Lots of species of beetle are aquatic. And this is a snail, pretty big snail with some mosquito larvae floating around it. I want you to know this whole time I have been bitten by many of these. This is a black fly. Beautiful wetland like this is teeming with life. It is a magnet for wildlife of all kinds, but now you've seen that under the surface of that water are billions of organisms. I hope the next time you go past a wetland, you'll stop and listen, and maybe even get out a bucket and a net. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be safe.